Looks like that. Lee's back on the back row. I just.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our County Commissioners meeting. If you don't have a mask, we have some available to my left on the table. We also have a new video system, so if we have a few technical glitches, then please excuse us. Our video will be on our county webpage, and the new title for the video is called Starleaf. So at any time and point in the future, you can look at our webpage for our video, for the video of the meeting. At this time, also, please silence your cell phones. Thank you. Now we will have a prayer by Merv Waldrop and pledge led by Commissioner Martin.
Let us pray. Lord, we are thankful to you for the freedoms we enjoy. Thank you also for the responsibility you've given us to govern ourselves. Lord, we ask for your wisdom on this board, that all the decisions that we made tonight will be done for your honor, for the betterment of our community. We ask all these things in Christ's name.
Amen.
Everybody, would please stand and take the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sheriff, can I ask you a question? Would you like to do your report during the information session or prior to that? Okay. Okay. Okay, at this time, we would like for someone to give a motion to accept the agenda and also place the sheriff on the agenda to read his report.
I make second to approve the agenda, Madam Chair.
Okay, the motion has been made by Commissioner Abrams, second by Commissioner Nix, that we approve the agenda and add the sheriff for his report. All in favor? Unanimous. Now we will have the approval of minutes of the meeting from January 12th, 13th, 20th, 21st, and 28th.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 12th, 13th, 20th, 21st, 28th.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Commissioner Nix, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve the minutes of the meetings on January 12th, 13th, 20th, 21st, and 28th. All in favor? Ayes have it, unanimous. At this time, we will have a public hearing, and the request is to close portion of Sun DeLago Road. Merv, can you give us the update?
We've gotten a request from Mr. John Flint, who is a property owner along Sun DeLago Road, asking that the county commission close a portion of that road, and that's on either side of the creek. As you know, there was a dam broke and washed out the road, and so Mr. Flint had asked for the board to consider closing that road. I believe we got a good number of people that want to speak, both as Mr. Flint's here to speak in favor of closing. I think there are others that are here to speak against it.
Okay, Mr. Flint.
Madam Chairman and members of the commission, thank you very much for hearing this petition to close the road. I felt obligated to file this while the road was washed out, and I fully expected to be having this conversation before it was fixed, but since it's fixed, that kind of makes that issue moot. But I still feel that it would be in the best interest of everyone to close this road. This is a right dangerous little stretch of road. It's right steep and curvy, and it also contributes a good bit of silt to the Beaver Dam Creek watershed. This is on Daniels Branch, and maintaining a dirt road as it is really puts a lot of silt in it, and I have some environmental concerns about that. And I stand by the facts as set forth in my letter to Mr. Jesse Burke, asking that this road be abandoned. Thank you.
Okay, any opposition please come to the mic and give your name, please.
Y'all have had problems with the roads and no roads. I got a copy where y'all commissioners back in the past have talked about roads. Now, Sunday Lake, that road's been opened up for over 75 years. Just because he bought both sides of it needs to remain open. The mail lady even has to come down to the Daniels, go all the way around to the entrance of Plant Vogel to get to the other side. C.J. Moore. And I request any of your Delagos back here, come on up and say your word too, because y'all visit your grandmothers, your grandfathers, and everything else on that road, because at the very top of the road is where my husband's grandmother and granddaddy lived. And we have traveled the roads all the time. I hit it. Hey, you come on up.
All right, I'm the daughter of Mary Annie DeLagle, and she's on property out there. She was born on that property. And Son DeLagle Road was named after her father. And it would just be a burden to close it because, like she said, everybody would have to go all the way around to get to either Plant Vogel or just, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me to abandon the road. Like she said, when it's been there for 75 years. And all of a sudden, you want to close it? Thank you.
Okay, any more speakers?
Hello, my name is Randy Legal. I was born and raised down there, and my parents and all, both of them, still there. My mama, she still got land and stuff down that way, right on the road, and I don't see any obligation to close that road, just because the branch washed out. I mean, it had washed out before down there, and we have all been down there, we fished down there, swam down there, and I'd like to keep it open. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Nicky DeLagle. I live at 1282 Southern DeLagle Road. That was my granddaddy. And like I say, I can't see closing that road for the mail carriers, UPS, FedEx. When the road was washed out, kept saying, man, I'm sure we'll be glad to get that road fixed. And there's times I work at Vogel, they reroute us on outages. I have to go that way. I can't see if you close partial of it, might as well be closed. And ain't gonna be no through traffic. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was born and raised there. So, tell me, yeah, the road's dangerous. What road in Burke County ain't? Especially 56 River Road. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, I'm all for keeping it open. I was born and raised there, right at the top of the hill. Lucky I got pavement right there, and it stops right on top of the hill. I lived there all my life, so I can't see closing.
Okay, thank you. Any more speakers?
My name is Carol Long, and my mom is Elaine DeLagle, and that's my granddaddy's land out there. And we own property on both sides of the branch, and we manage property on both sides of the branch. That I understand the road washed out, but that's things that happened. It washed his pond dam out that resulted in washing the county road out. But it's a road that's been there for over 75 years, and he does own land on both sides of the road, but that doesn't justify closing the road off. Not in, without just him saying this for his opinion. So we have opinions also, and just wanted to voice it.
Okay, thank you. Any more speakers? Okay, Merv. Okay, since there's no more speakers, the next step is,
Would be for the board to decide whether you want to close the road as requested or to leave it open. And it would take a motion to close the road. You don't have to make a motion to leave it open, but it'd probably be good for the record to get a motion one way or the other.
Madam Chair, I'd be glad to make a motion to leave Sun Lake Road open. I've had a little over 40 phone calls, and 2 of them were in support of closing it. The rest of them were in support of keeping it open and maintaining it. So that'll be my motion.
okay, we have a motion made by Commissioner Nick, second by Commissioner Abrams to leave Sunday Lego Road open. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item on the agenda, rezoning request from Burke County. Okay, the parcel is on 805 McManus Road. So Merv.
All right, Madam Chairman, the county is the applicant for this rezone. For years, we have had an agreement with James McManus to borrow, to get soil for county roads from a borrow pit on their property. It was time to expand that borrow pit, so we had to apply for a permit to EPD. One of the requirements of the EPD is that the property the property is zone consistent with the mining permit. So that now that we've got zoning in Burke County, we had to have the zoning changed to make it consistent, so that the EPD would issue the mining permit. We held a public hearing with the Planning Commission. There was no opposition. McManus is in agreement. No opposition from the neighborhood. Planning Commission has recommended rezoning to general industrial for that tracts for a surface mine permit. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the zoning request for item 4.
Motion made by Commissioner Nick, second by Commissioner Abrams, that we approve the rezoning request for item 4. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, rezoning request for Laura Garville, and that's on Corley Road.
Madam Chairman, the next request is from Laura Gravel. Ms. Gravel is is trying to put 2 parcels that they own together to make one larger tract. The smaller tract is 5 acres and it's zoned R1. The larger tract is a 20-acre tract and it's zoned A1. In order to put it together and have the same zoning, their request was to combine those 2 and zone the whole parcel, 25 acres, as A1 agriculture. Public hearing was held by the Planning Commission. There was no opposition, and the Planning Commission recommended rezoning the property.
Madam Chairman, there's no further discussion. I'd like to make a motion to request a rezone for Laura Vale from R1 to A1 at 845 Corey Road.
Is there a second? Motion made by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Abrams, that we rezone 845 Corley Road. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, Sheriff, you ready? So we're inserting the sheriff right here to give his report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for allowing us to go out of order here. As you know, each year, first meeting in February, we bring our annual report to you to give you a synopsis of where we are in terms of our efforts to keep Burke County safe and show that we are judiciously using the resources and revenue that you've given us and working within the guidelines that the law has set forth. And we believe that we have been good stewards of the public's money. I've been in office now for 5 years. Each year we have compiled a similar report. These reports are made available on our website, and we publish a number of books for those persons who wish to come by the office and get a copy. If I may, I certainly won't read to you, but if I can draw your attention to a few different pages, more specifically, page 14, or pages 13 and 14, which page 13 is our organizational chart, if you will, that it outlines every employee within the agency and their particular division, and that may be helpful to some folks to figure out. I hear all the time the sheriff's office has all these employees, and what are they doing? Well, this memorializes who we are and what we're doing. Page 14, I'm particularly proud of. We are pushing education in the sheriff's office. It's not a prerequisite by the state standards, but I submit to you that we are going above state standards. We came to this commission on last year and asked that you pay an educational incentive to those persons who had pursued higher education, and we were not successful in that regard, but I think this page might prod you to reconsider doing so. I can tell you in the last 5 years I've been at the sheriff's office, we have had some 15 employees to pursue higher education. If you expect to get promoted with us, you've got to go above and beyond, and you can see here on page 14 we have employees who are doing so. If I can draw your attention to page 17, these are what we refer to, or what the state and the federal government refers to as Part 1 crimes. These are our most severe crimes, and we've given you a 4-year analysis here, and you can see the drastic decreases in crime. When I took office January 1, 2017, and more specific, even when I campaigned in 2016, I promised you if you gave us the money and the resources we needed, I would cut crime in half by 50% the first year. We did that, and as you can see, we've maintained that throughout the past 5 years. And we submit that we won't do any differently going forward. Our thefts, burglaries, robberies, assaults are down, and we have been very consistent over the past 4 years, and I think that's remarkable. Any leader would be glad to have a 3% decrease in crime, and to get 50%, you are performing extremely well by national standards. Page 18 in our Administrative Services Division, we won't go over all of them, but these are statistics based on, for example, the number of driver histories. We ran some 1,700 driver histories last year. We entered some 400 plus warrants. Where it says guns entered, that means we entered 27 stolen guns last year. We have a lot of gun owners in this county, which we're very proud of. We think the more folks who are armed, the better, the safer we are. But I got to tell you that we have a lot of folks who have them, but they want to exercise their Second Amendment right to bear them, but they're not being very responsible. They leave them in their cars. They leave their cars unlocked. Those guns end up in the hands of gang members and drug dealers, and so we spent some $10,000 last year with a public campaign to warn our residents about being safe and storing their weapons safely, and to cut down on our thefts and burglaries where firearms are taken. If I can draw your attention to the bottom of page 18, we submitted 368 cases to the district attorney for prosecution on last year. That's up some 75% from 2015, 2016. So we are working very hard and to ensure Burke Countyans are safe. Page 19, if you look at the top row there, we seized some $215,000 from drug dealers over the last year, just the last year. The last year. That is huge for a county this size. We executed 13 search warrants. As you know, that takes a lot of work. We got that done, and then you can see the pills and marijuana and cocaine, heroin that we've taken off the street. If I can draw your attention to page 22, and I'm about to wrap it up, Madam Chairwoman. Total arrests and bookings for 2020, 931 people. You might not have imagined that we arrested close to 1,000 people on last year that entered the jail. Total inmates for 2020 was 1,065. We have a jail that's built for roughly 120 people. Doesn't mean we have 1,000 in jail, but 1,000 came through the doors at some point. We averaged 2 arrests per day. Our highest inmate count was 152. We're only designed for 120. The average population per month was 109, and our lowest day was 96. And these numbers, when looking at these numbers, it's important to remember that we're in a COVID conscious setting at this point, and we have tried our best to avoid arresting persons who are not dangerous to us so that we don't infect our population. In the Judicial Center, we had 350 inmate transports. That's a lot, especially considering court was closed for nearly 6 months. So you can imagine if we didn't have COVID, we'd be twice that plus some. It might surprise you that 32,000 people walked through the new courthouse on last year. I know sometimes you go over there and the bailiffs are sitting around and people start to think we have too many employees who are not working, but you would not have guessed that we saw 32,000 people come through those metal detectors on last year. 23,000 bags were screened, and so they are quite busy over there at times. If I can draw your attention to page 25, this is important to me. I ran on a campaign of, if you elect me and give me the resources that I need, that we would reduce our response times, and I think you remember me talking about that. When I took office, our response times were 45 minutes to an hour. We have gotten that down to 14 minutes on average from the time the person calls law enforcement to the time we arrive at the house. That is huge for a county, the second largest county in the state, 835 square miles. We're getting the job done with the resources that you have provided, and we want to thank you for that. Our average time spent at a person's home is 35 minutes, 28 seconds. So we're not showing up, taking a report, getting in the car and leaving. We're talking to people, we're establishing relationships and partnerships, and we're resolving their problems. On page 26, you'll see that we conducted 7,500 traffic stops last year. 7,500. Of the 7,500, 4,500 of those resulted in warnings. Only 2,400 citations were issued, and I think that's important for, sometimes people think that, the sheriff's office is generating money from traffic citations, and I submit to you that's just not the case. We're not interested in money. We're trying to get them to comply so that we can reduce crashes and injuries. Only 64 DUIs last year. Only 64. I think that sends a resounding message that we're not over-policing the community. We're not sitting down the road from the country club waiting on people to leave who've had a beer after work. You can have a beer after work. We're not concerned about that. We're only concerned about those persons who are less safe to drive. We had 1,000 traffic accidents in Burke County on last year. From the traffic stops, we confiscated $4,300 for persons who were engaged in illegal activity. We had a total of 8 road safety checks throughout last year. Those numbers I just gave you are not inclusive of the crime suppression team, those 3 or 4 guys that follow each other around. If you look on page 28, we get to their statistics. The crime suppression team stopped a total of 1,305 cars. 1,149 of those were persons in cars. Out of that 1,300 stops, only 235 cars were searched. They wrote 107 citations and 1,000 warnings. They arrested 94 people. They made 31 drug cases. And the dog was used 54 times to search those 1,300 cars. There again, I think it shows tolerance. I think it shows restraint. I think it shows that we are measured in our aggressiveness as it relates to suppressing crime. On page 31, and I know the commission is very familiar with our budget, I think it's important that the public understands that to operate the sheriff's office and the jail, we have a total of $8.5 million. And you can look at the breakdown there and see that the majority of that is salaries. We have very little money to operate on, and this is significantly less than any other county. 8.5 million is significantly less than any other county of a comparable size. And so we are well within budget in terms of what other folks are doing in terms of providing safety in the county. But if I can refer you to page 33, we have some 109 sex offenders in this county. Most of you probably know that the sheriff's office is responsible for keeping up with sex offenders. We have a person that has 3 jobs: sex offenders, evidence, and professional standards. He has to do all 3 of those, and it's quite a feat to lay your eyes on 109 sex offenders and keep up with where they are and what they're doing, but he does that in addition to his other duties. At the bottom of page 33, we had over 12,000 phone calls come into the sheriff's office last year. we had 56,000, what we call CAD entries, that's computer-aided dispatch. 56,000 entries. That's persons calling, I need the police, I need help, or I need a case number for a report, or traffic stops. 56,000, that's pretty remarkable. And then I'll just end on that note. I'll be glad to take any questions you may have about anything in the sheriff's office. I'll gladly answer anything.
I think it's pretty remarkable what you all did. We see what the investment that we made in the town. When I wake up in the morning and get ready to sometimes lose that and go. Other cities will talk about how many people got killed or different situations. Very seldom we're kind of
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sheriff, you said at times the jail houses more people than allowed. So where do they sleep, or what happens?
Yes, ma'am. So we have these floor beds, we call them boats. It's a plastic boat-shaped device that they sleep on. We give them a mattress, and they have to sleep on the floor.
Okay.
And,
Any more questions for the sheriff?
Appreciate the work you do, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you and your staff, sheriff, staff, officers, everyone for all their hard work.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. If I can just point out to you, we talked about the number of transports we made. I know that this commission is considering whether or not we're going to join a different judicial circuit. I wrote a letter last week or week before last expressing how detrimental that will be to us. I think that it's important to look at these numbers and think about how we're going to be negatively impacted by moving to another judicial circuit. When you think about the number of transports and the number of cases we submitted to the DA, over 360 last year, that's one per day. We do enough to hold our own right here. I work with these other counties. Bullock County, the sheriff is a friend of mine, but you go to jail down there, you stay. And I think you just got to think about when we don't hold court as often, those persons, it's costing you $65 a day to house an inmate. If you don't hold court as often, those persons are costing us $65. Not to count dental bills, medical bills. We've got a woman in the jail now on armed robbery charges. Every time she goes to the doctor, it's $1,000. I just think there's more than the $500,000 that it might cost us to stay in the circuit. We've got to think about judicial economy and what that's going to look like if we go to unknown territories and have to deal with judges that we may not be as familiar with. We have a really good rapport with the Augusta Judicial Circuit. If we need to move out an inmate, we can pick up the phone and call the judge and the DA and get something working. And it take you years to establish the relationships that we already have established in the Augusta Circuit. So just wanted to add that caveat.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, now we will proceed with our bid opening. And Burke, we can just go straight down the line. Bid opening, front mount, self-propeller broom.
We have on the front mounted broom, we have 3 bids. Yeah, I think I laid out a bid tabulation sheet for you, try to follow along. Let's see, first one is Reynolds Warren Equipment out of Lake City, Georgia. bid is $65,620.25. That's Runnels Warren Equipment, $65,620.25. They have an alternate bid of $69,940.25. I'm not sure what the alternate consists of. We'll find out. The second bidder is Cowan Equipment Company. Their bid is $70,127. So Cowan Equipment, $70,127. And then the last one is not on the outside. Tractor Equipment Company, TEC. And their bid is $65,900. $65,900.
Okay, the Finance Committee agreed to meet tomorrow at 4:00 p.m. The Finance Committee, 4.
We'll give these bids to Mr. Burke. All right, ready for the next one?
Yes.
The next bid opening is for the sale of 3 lots in Gulf. We had posted a minimum bid of $1,654.62. So the first bid is T&J Landscape. Their bid is $2,550.50. So that's T&J, $2,550.50. Next one is hand delivered as everything on the envelope. Is from Emily Carr, Corey Carr, Shelley Smithley. I guess it's Burke. Let's see. $6,001. $6,000. So that is Shelley Smithley. And then the last one is Randy Glasgow. And Mr. Glasgow's bid is $2,700. $2,700. You want to refer this to the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee tomorrow.
All right, the next bids are computer hardware for the 911 center. First one is SHI think they put, on the outside, looks like they put bids for both hardware and the network and the computer hardware in the same number. So let's see if we can figure it out. This one is, it's gonna be SHI on the network. Second one is 26,339.06. And then the computer hardware, SHI's bid is $20,953.13. $20,953.13. All right, the second bid on the computer hardware is from Howard Technologies. Their bid is $17,553. That's Howard Technologies, $17,553. All right, the next bids are the 911 network hardware. We read out SHI's bid of 26,339. We got 3 other. This one is from Innovation. They've got prices for every single part. Place in that. Get back and look through these totals, but they did not put a total that I can see on the bid. Oh, wait a minute, I did find it in small print. Their price for the network hardware is $43,951.80. That's Innovation Worldwide, $43,951.80. Next one is Howard Technologies. Their bid is $15,805. Howard Technologies, $15,805. That is more than that. And the last one is American Video Alarm. Their price is $42,960. $42,960.
Okay, all of those are deferred to the Finance Committee tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Okay, next item on the agenda, proposal to increase commissioner salaries.
Madam Chair, the last time the commissioner salaries increased was the mid-1990s, so it's been almost 30 years since the board salaries have changed. The process to change salaries, the board can increase its own salary, but it only affects the next board. So whatever increase you decide to do tonight would not take effect until January 1st of 2023. The proposal that was advertised in the paper was to increase the base salary from $6,000 to $9,600 for district commissioners, and for the increase the chairman base salary from $8,400 to $12,000, and that's per year. Are there any questions on that?
Now, I initially brought this up in our work session last year in February, and when I ran for election in 2019, when I qualified, I wrote the same amount of the check that I wrote when I ran in 1994, and that's what made me realize it had not changed at all in those years. So I brought it up, and I'm willing to make the motion that we approve it.
I do not disagree with what Mr. Thomas is saying, but just so I'm out in the open, I've been here for 40 days. I can't hardly vote for myself a raise. So.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Nick, second by Commissioner Abrams, that we increase the commissioner's salary. All in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, 2 opposed and 3 agree. You have that for the minutes? Okay. So, the proposal passes. Okay, next item, approval of intergovernmental agreement with hospital authority.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, the hospital authority is working on a lease with a group of physicians that would bring additional services to the Burke Medical Center, and also bring the Burke Medical Center to a point where it is self-sufficient. For years, at least the last 10 years, the county commission has been supporting the hospital authority. In fact, over the last 7 years, it's been $33 million, or more than $33 million, has been paid to the hospital authority to help keep it afloat. The intergovernmental agreement would commit the county financially to the agreement would be $22 million, and that would be paid in the next 4 years. It is a 7-year agreement, the lease is, but most of the money would be for capital, and then the initial few years for subsidy to the hospital until it becomes self-sufficient. After that 4th year, there would be no more payments from the county to the hospital authority. If there are any questions, I think we've got representatives here from the authority. They may want to speak on it, and I'll try to answer any I can.
Okay. We kind of know, but some of our constituents are asking us questions, and just so you could just say it openly, what type services will be provided? Will any services be deleted that we currently have? So anybody can answer that.
So the services that we currently have will remain.
we have a cardiologist come down twice a month, they're actually talking about bringing home a cardiologist as well, so it might shift them up. 2 days a month, they will get a contract out. We also have ortho clinic now, and we do have a lot. So all the services, the lab, all of our imaging services, like ammo, MRI, all that is doing.
Okay, just keep standing. Is the ER still going to be open? So how will the citizens be notified of the changes that are occurring or occur in the hospital relationship with the community? Right.
So the new company will, I assume, that they will do the same things that we currently do. They'll have a website, they'll use social media, complete like the citizens and those type of services to let people know these things. Just like we currently do. They will, that is true. So there'll also be on the new group board, there'll be an authority member on their board. So one of the authority members, I'm not sure who that will be on their board. So that will be the authority where
Okay, and our authority still will be an active, vital part of the hospital group. Is that?
So, the authority will still exist, and the authority will function as a hospital authority. However, the authority will not be involved in the operations of the hospital, except for the authority member on the board. So there will still be representation on the board of the authority. So, yeah. But their group, this new business, they will operate the hospital.
But, Mr. Terry, excuse me, the concerns I've heard have been hospital rooms availability, and if we happen to have a problem, which obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic now, but we're still averaging, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there's been a lot of information that y'all have dealt with a lot longer than I have. For the most part, our average has been for people over the 8-year census, is 4 to 5 people staying.
Yes. Since 2016, it averages somewhere around 4. The last year, it has averaged 5.18 during the pandemic.
And we'll have 6 rooms plus 8 rooms, 8 beds, excuse me, in the emergency room.
We'll have 6 beds for inmates. Somebody come in and get admitted in the hospital. You still have 8 ER beds, but those are very separate things. ER beds don't have anything to do with inmates. So you can't use an ER bed as overnight.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, it does. But if we were to have a rash of patients now, 20, we don't have the staff to work 20 patients. No. So nor will we probably staff the hospital for 12 or 10. And that was something that just kind of clicked on me earlier that I had never thought about that part. I mean, I know that we don't want to lose and give up beds that we're going to use, but we're still not staffed. Everybody says we have a 40-room hospital, but we really, truly aren't capable of having 40 patients.
No, we're not staffed for that. We are probably staffed on average day, pandemic has changed us. So our ERN people, our nurses that fill in, are all university and doctors, right? Because they pay 3 times. But on an average day, we're probably staffed for 10 to 12.
Well, and I'll say that without the Burke County Hospital and the Burke County EMA system, my wife and daughter wouldn't be here. I mean, there's no doubt. So I'm a great proponent for our hospital. But like everyone knows, we gotta figure something out. And I don't know that we have a plan B other than trying to move forward with this. And if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. So I want to clarify, for some people, there were some questions that I've gotten this week that you just clarified for me, so thank you.
But there will be like an open meeting before all this to the public, is that correct?
Yes, so there is a process that we have to follow from general. Once our packets and submission and everything gets to the general office, somewhere about 30 days after that, the Attorney General will help us set a date for a public meeting that we have at the hospital with the authorities and the group, and of course all the citizens are invited to discuss their, ask questions, meet viewers. That day will be publicized 30 days in advance. So it'll be on Facebook. And once that is done, that has to be done before the Attorney General makes the decision whether they're allowed to do this. They'll be amplified.
Okay, any more questions?
All right, Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with the hospital authority.
Is there a second? A motion has been made by Commissioner Nix, second by Commissioner Abrams, that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with the hospital. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, our next item on the agenda, approval of MOU for Archway Partnership.
Madam Chairman, Commissioner, last year we had a presentation from Suzanne Sharkey with Georgia Power, informing us about the Archway Partnership. It is partially funded by Georgia Power and the University of Georgia. They work with communities around the state of Georgia to create a partnership of school boards, county commission, development authorities to work on problems or economic development issues in their community. And I'm talking with McDuffie County today, they work on a number of different projects. So it doesn't have to be one particular project. Our commitment would be 5-year commitment. The initial payment would be, financial commitment would be $30,000, which the board has put in its budget the last 2 years. Due to COVID, it was delayed until this July before the program would start. Everywhere every county that's had this program speaks very highly of it. We would help define what projects we work on. Could be broadband, could be workforce. There are a number of issues that affect economic development that could use this type of expertise. Are there any questions related to it? If a board would be appointed, each partner would have a seat on that board. So the Board of Commissioners, School Board, the City of Waynesboro would also have a voice in this, how this partnership is shaped. And the money would be used to provide for the university to hire staff that would be housed here and to provide supplies that they need for their operation.
Okay, any more discussion on the partnership? We need a motion. Okay, is there a second?
I second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Abrams, second by Commissioner Nix, that we enter the MOU for the Archway Partnership. All in favor? Unanimous. First reading of ordinance requiring 2 readings for ordinance amendments.
Madam Chair, most counties in the state require 2 readings for ordinance, though it is not automatically required by state law. It has been a tradition of Burke County to do 2 readings for any changes to the code of ordinances. This would make that practice clear in our code of ordinances and would require, if the code is changed, that we would have 2 readings at 2 separate regular meetings.
Okay, can we get a motion?
I'm sure I'll make a motion that we approve line 13 to have 2 readings of ordinance changes amendments.
May I get a second? Motion made by Commissioner Nick, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve the first reading of the ordinance requiring 2 readings for ordinance amendments. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item, first reading of ordinance changing the position of county administrator to county manager.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this ordinance makes a change back to a county manager form of government. You may have differences of opinions. I urge you to vote your conscience on this. All I would say is I think that the board made a good decision to go to the county manager form of government a couple of years ago, and I would encourage you to revert back to that form.
Okay, can we get a motion?
Do you have to have a motion on the first reading?
Yes,
Yeah.
we need, this would be first reading of the ordinance, so we need to adopt it on first reading and put it on the agenda for the next meeting or second reading.
Yes, discussion.
Recently, there's former Mr. Martin, and I put it back to county manager because there was some issues going on that we didn't feel that was professionally done, and as manager, time, fine, and if I got an issue going on, my constituent called me, I called him, and I had my paper with the department head. And I'm telling you tonight, when my constituent called me, and I am accountable, they are accountable. And I've strongly feel that for 18 some plus years that under the Commissioner Board, Mr. Labor, Wayne Burke, Mr. Jimmy Dixon, and Mr. Ray Ray, and he got the same authority they have been doing for the last few months, that when we put them back to manager, we're not taking anything away from them, we're not taking the salary away. Only thing we just want to do is, I don't have to say that if I need to get something done, I got to go through my employer. Our people who elected us want to make sure that we got accountability going on. And we can't get full accountability as we as county manager. Nothing wrong with him, perfect. But the board up here is supposed to be able to run the county along with our county manager, not our county manager do everything. Kind of like situation just came up, where that we hired some people, and some of the people put in to be for the position. He did not even interview people, and that's wrong. I'm not going to call him names or nothing like that, and that's wrong. And I go out personally and talk about partners here, personally talk about workers who work here.
and it is some issues going on. I'm not gonna set up here like a knot on a pine when I know it's an issue. And there is some issue. And we are allowed when we get sued. After they sue the county, they coming at us, all of us personally. And that's why it's so important that they're not gonna sue him, they're gonna sue us. And that's why it's important that we have full control over what's going on with the county. Like there's nothing personal. But our constituents hire us to be managing this county. And we work for 18 years, and we're not taking no power away from it, we're not promoting nobody. It's just giving us the authority to have, make sure we got compliance and we got accountability what's going on.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Terry,
Mhm.
I just disagree a little bit with Mr. Lucius. One of the first training courses that I had getting ready for this let me know and laid it out pretty plain. It is not our job to be in day-to-day operation. It is our job to set ordinances and rules for the county to follow. It is also our job to hire competent people to do their job. We shouldn't be in, and again, this is from the training that I was told I had to do. We're not supposed to be in day-to-day operations, hiring and firing, personnel issues. That's not our job. We are elected to hire competent people, and I feel certain, and anybody in the state will agree with me, that Merv is very competent to be our manager, not our administrator. There has to be some threat of your boss fussing at you or some accountability. And if the first thing they can do is my cousin can call me and I can't say, Merv, hey, I'm finna get in your business because this guy's doing wrong. And that's what's happened. I'm not saying in every case. You mentioned not interviewing somebody. I don't know that answer, so I'm going to speak dumb to that. But if there's 20 applicants and only 2 or 3 are qualified, then there's no need to interview everybody. And again, I'm speaking from outside of that exact example because I don't know it. But I fully believe that we need to allow our administrator to go back to manager. He's worked for this county for 20 years. I understand I was in the middle of the he said, she said earlier, but there were other instances throughout the county that were handled unprofessionally from other employees. So we might as well move on past that. That's my opinion. I'd go ahead and make a motion if there's no further discussion that we'll have the first reading to change the position from administrator to county manager.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Lively, second by Commissioner Nix, that we change the position of Merv Waldrick to county administrator. All in favor? I'm sorry, county manager. Okay. All opposed? Okay, 3, 4, and 2 opposed. Okay, next item. First reading of ordinance amending the speed zone code.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, we had an incident that came up a few weeks ago in the state court. A citation was issued on Old Waynesboro Road. The signs stated one set of procedures, one set of speed limits. The ordinance had a different set, and the DOT permit for running radar had a different set. So the solicitor asked me to look into it. I got with Captain Wilds from the sheriff's office, who handles speed and traffic patrol for the sheriff's office. We have put a proposal together, let the sheriff's office review it, let the solicitor as well as the state court judge review it. There was some concern that our ordinance lists state highways in it, but it has listed state highways for years. I'm not opposed to taking that out. I don't know if it helps or hurts. It gives the officers an option to write a citation that would go into magistrate court. County ordinances are enforced in magistrate court and not state court. But, so the other changes, I guess there was a change on the state highways because our previous ordinance had Highway 25 listed as 55 miles an hour from Jenkins County to the Richmond County line. So that's been changed to make it consistent with the current speed limits. It also changed Old Waynesboro Road to be 45 miles an hour from Gordon Road up to the Norfolk Southern Railroad overpass, which is the congested area. And there was a change on River Road that would provide that the speed limit be 45 miles an hour from a half mile north of Hancock Landing Road to a half mile south of Ebenezer Road.
Yeah, that's already posted that way, right?
Right, but it's not, that was inconsistent. That's a 55 mile an hour zone according to our ordinance. So you're right, there are a number of inconsistencies between our ordinance and what the posted signs are.
The one on Old Waynesboro, so from the railroad track.
Right.
To the dirt road is going up.
That's right.
This here is a distance of 8.4 miles.
This should be at 0.84 miles. Let me make sure that, correct that typo. Yes,
So-
it should be 0.84 miles. Yeah.
So Merv, what about the state highways? You said they were in there. Should they be deleted since we don't
Why don't
control
we,
that?
adopt it on first read and then I'll ask the Sheriff's Department and the state court judge to give us their opinion on that, as well as the county attorney on the issue of the state highways. The state court judge was concerned about state highways being on there, but he didn't ask him to put recommendation in writing. He didn't do that. So,
If it's in the city limits, so that
right, the city can control inside the city limits. Most of these start from the city limits out, and it applies to the unincorporated area. So, like Highway 17 is from Jenkins County line to the Midwest city limit. Specifies it. Most of the state highways, even though they're listed as 55 miles an hour. So they're consistent. It's just whether you need to have it in so they can go to magistrate court or not. And I don't want to put the sheriff's office on the spot because they hadn't to see if they would prefer to have it in state court or magistrate court. But we can make that ask that question and have you an answer before final reading of it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 21-03.
Motion made by Commissioner Nick, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve the first reading of ordinance 21-03. All in favor? Unanimous.
And all those state roads are in the current ordinance. They won't need to change other than Highway 25. But we'll get to that.
Okay. Next item, approval of purchase order to border equipment for repairs to Case Motor Grader.
We have a motor grader needs some repairs. We've got an estimate for border equipment. The price is $31,548.64. This exceeds my spending authority, so we need to get the board to authorize that purchase order. This one is maybe 3 years old. It's not very old.
I thought we were Dwayne that they nerve and he's gonna probably get paid for what we're doing.
Okay, that's good.
I figured when we do it, it's done. I make a motion to approve the PO for border equipment for repair to the Case Motor Grader. And again, if we can get some help from Case, that'd be good, but either way, it ain't doing any good like it is.
Okay, the question when he said he said he could help us, so what kind of help was he? On finances or what?
Do some of his warranty.
So we could have a motion that no more than 31,000, hopefully it'll be less than that.
I make a motion for a PO to border equipment for no more than $31,548.64. Hopefully we'll be able to help.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Lively, second by Commissioner Martin, that we approve the purchase order for no more than the stated amount for repair. All in favor? Unanimous. Item 17, the request to add payroll clerk position to administration department.
At our last finance committee meeting, the committee asked for a recommendation in regards to HR payroll functions of the county. I checked with Renee Milligan, who does all our payroll, all our retirement, all our insurance. We're stressing her out beyond belief. And in fact, we've got one person doing what a lot of counties have 2 or 3 people doing. We did some checking around. Most counties that have our number of people are going to have 3 to 4 people doing HR and payroll. I would recommend not asking for the 3 or 4, but at least asking for a payroll clerk to assist Renee. One, to have some backup. If something, if she's out sick, and she had been out sick. She's been working from home trying to get payroll. We need some redundancy in the system. We're too big an operation not to have somebody to back us up. But I'm leaving that to the board. I know it's a difficult decision because we're going to hear it from some other departments because of mid-year. But it is COVID has exposed our weaknesses, and we're at a real stress point, particularly in payroll and HR. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion?
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Abrams, second by Commissioner Nix, that we add a payroll clerk to the administration department. All in favor? Unanimous. Information and reports. Okay, Tiffany, you're the only one I see, I think. So Tiffany. Tiffany, can you come? Yes.
Okay, I'll give you just quick numbers. So for our ER visits through December last year, for June through December, we had 4,110 ER visits. And like I said earlier, through December, our average daily census is 5.18. In January, it has gone up again because of COVID, but the whole year was busier because of COVID. I know that some of you might have heard already, we did have our first COVID death in the hospital this week, and we've been really busy, so wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance still. The hospital has teamed up with the health department and some other, the EMA, Sheriff's Office, and everybody's helping do the vaccine clinics on Wednesday. So if people are interested and they're in that eligible group, they need to go onto the health department website or call the number and get an appointment for Wednesday. So we're doing that. Last week we vaccinated 400. So in the week before that, I think it was like right at 200. So those drive-through clinics are really working for the citizens. We have, I think Gina said, about 420 scheduled for tomorrow.
And it's really good. It's really working, it's really good.
Okay, so now when are they gonna go to another age category? Right now, it's 65 and up.
Right.
So
So
when,
it's still, that phase 1A is what it is. The CDC has not determined they need to move to phase 1B. So the next phase is the phase that includes teachers and who were deemed essential workers, right, at the beginning of the pandemic. The next phase will have those people in it. There just aren't enough doses of the vaccine yet to open that up, and that's the problem. So Georgia just got an increase of allocations this past week, but there's still not enough. We don't even have enough to vaccinate everybody that's in the first group. So it might be another 2 or 3 weeks before they change that. It could be even longer.
Is that still 2 doses vaccine?
Yes. Yeah, they're all still 2 doses. Johnson & Johnson is the one that you're probably hearing about. It's the 1 dose. It's been approved in Europe. It's not been approved here yet. The effectiveness of that vaccine is nowhere near as effective as Moderna and Pfizer at this point. So it hasn't made it through the FDA. And that'll probably, I have to guess, because the CDC's talking about it, but it's probably going to be at least another month before that goes through, and then they'll have to gear up to make the vaccine.
okay, now I had a relative that was called by somebody to go to Clark Pharmacy on Saturday to get his shot. So is this like word of mouth, or how was somebody called him?
Clark Pharmacy, Clark Drug did a very small clinic this past weekend. They got a few doses, and they did the same group of people. So they're kind of working with the health department and everyone else. If you call that number and you get on the waiting list, we're all trying to share. So we're having people call the hospital, but we're not taking appointments. We're sending everybody to the health department. I think all of us are trying to do the same. The STAR did a few vaccines and same.
Okay.
Same group of people.
Oh.
Right. They give you a date, that's when you need to show up, or if you have a card, you came to the clinic and you have at the first dose, you have to show back up. People are bombarding the health department line, because everybody's calling all day every day. So, yeah, don't call if you don't have to. If you've got your date, don't call.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, thank you. Anything else? Merv, anything else? Anything else, board? Okay, no one else signed up. Okay, meeting adjourned. Oh, okay, you want to say?
Oh, there is a sign up.
Oh, okay. Come to the mic. Okay. Oh, state your name.
My name is Kathy Sturkey. I live on Hills Mill Pond Road. I've been a resident of Burke County now almost 26 years. Can't believe it. I love Burke County, but we have a problem. Trash. Our trash facilities are an embarrassment. We must do something. I own property in South Carolina. I'm originally from South Carolina, and they have collection stations. They work wonderfully. You don't see the trash around like you do here in Burke County. I really think, and Merv, I found the money. You said we were spending $33,000 of the authority. And when we get with these people, we only have to spend 33 million. We only have to spend 22 million. There's $10 million.
We gotta wait 7 years.
But that's over, we can work on it. But that is something that would improve our county. Sheriff Williams improved our county with his drug enforcement. He took care of that problem. Now it's your all and our problem as citizens to take care of the trash. Thanksgiving was horrible. My husband and I gathered up our trash, and we went to like 5 places, filled up, stacked, and we even saw this one lady, and she was out stacking it up, and we said, "Ma'am, this is full. Why don't you take it back home?" She said, "I don't have anywhere to put it, be all right." She didn't even care what it was going to do.
That's
So
the
I'm
biggest
asking,
problem. That's the biggest problem.
They
don't
don't-
care. People don't care.
And I'm asking you all to please investigate the stations or some form of taking care of this trash so we can make Burke County a beautiful place to live, because it is. And I love Burke County, so please do something.
We actually took a tour when the MoDOT, the convenience center at MoDOT.
Uh-huh.
We all went up there and looked at it, and that's what I'm trying to get them to,
Now,
let's try that.
one of the stations that I have access to in South Carolina is Saluda County and Calhoun County. Calhoun is where I'm from, and it's a lovely little county, rural, kind of like Burke County. And the guy at the trash dump, we call it, but it's not, it's a collection center, it's Mr. Fred. And he's a retired individual. He knows everybody. He tells you where to put your trash. It's clean. You just wouldn't imagine how clean it is around there. So that's all I wanted to ask you to please do.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more discussion? If not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.